All right, let's talk about a term you literally cannot escape these days: artificial intelligence. You see it everywhere. It's supposed to change everything about our world, but what is it? Like, really, beyond all the hype? Well, today, we're going to break it all down.
So let's just dive right in. I mean, we hear about AI creating stunning art, writing essays for students, even driving cars. But behind all the sci-fi stuff, what are we actually talking about when we say AI? That's the big question we're going to unpack right now.
So to get started, we need to get on the same page with a solid definition. Let's just forget the killer robots for a minute and get down to the real science of it.
And here it is. At its very core, AI is all about building computer systems that can do things that would normally take a human brain to figure out. We're talking about learning from experience, reasoning your way through a tricky problem, and then making a decision. The key thing here? It's not about being conscious or having feelings, it's all about capability.
Okay, so if AI is all about learning and reasoning, you gotta ask how. How does a machine, a piece of code, actually learn anything? This is where we get into the real engine that's powering pretty much all the AI breakthroughs you hear about.
The secret sauce is this idea of not being explicitly programmed. See, in the old days, you had to write code for every single tiny possibility. It was incredibly tedious. Machine learning completely flips that on its head. It lets a system figure out the rules for itself, just by chewing on huge amounts of data. It's a total game changer.
And the main way this happens is through something called artificial neural networks. And yeah, it's pretty much what it sounds like, a model inspired by our own brains. You have all these layers of interconnected digital neurons that pass information to each other. As more and more data flows through, the network gets better at recognizing patterns, kind of like how we learn to spot a friend in a crowd. Now, this learning usually comes in two main flavors. First, there's supervised learning. This is like giving the AI an answer key. You feed it thousands of pictures that are all neatly labeled cat, and eventually it learns what a cat looks like. Then you have unsupervised learning, which is way more like detective work. You just dump a mountain of data on the AI with no labels, and it has to find the hidden patterns all on its own, like finding groups of shoppers who buy the same weird stuff. So we've got the what and the how. But, and this is a big but, the AI that we actually have today is worlds away from what you see in the movies. To really get that, we need to look at how we got here and what kinds of AI actually exist in the real world.
You know, AI's journey has been a real roller coaster. It kicked off with massive hype back in the 50s, but the tech just couldn't deliver, which led to these AI winters, long periods where nobody was interested. But then, around 2012, a huge breakthrough in something called deep learning changed everything, and that kicked off the modern era that led directly to the explosion we're seeing right now with things like ChatGPT.
Okay, this table right here is probably one of the most important things to understand. Everything, and I mean everything we have today, is narrow AI. It might be brilliant at one specific task, like playing chess or recognizing faces, but that's it. The sci-fi stuff, like an AI that can think creatively across any subject like a human, or a superintelligence that's smarter than all of us combined, that's all still just theory. And if you want a sense of just how massive the jump to a true human-like AI would be, get this. One of the fastest supercomputers on Earth took a full 40 minutes just to simulate a single second of human brain activity. It just shows you the mind-boggling complexity we're dealing with. All right, so we've grounded ourselves in reality. We know we're talking about this powerful, narrow AI. So where is it? Where do you actually see this stuff in your day-to-day life? Well, you might be a little surprised. And here's the thing. You are using AI all day, every day, probably without even thinking twice about it. It's not some far-off concept anymore. It's basically a utility, just humming away quietly in the background of your digital world. I mean, seriously, just think about your day. The search results Google gives you, that's AI. The next show Netflix queues up for you, AI. The voice assistant on your phone, the spam that magically disappears from your inbox, even the fancy new generative AI tools. Yep, all of it is narrow AI, woven completely into the fabric of how we live.
Okay, so AI is here, it's powerful, and it's pretty much everywhere. But the really big question, the one that people in the field are still debating, is what's the right way to keep building it? This gets to the very heart of what intelligence even is.
Yeah, this quote really nails it. For decades, there have basically been two different schools of thought on how to achieve true AI. It's kind of like a modern version of an old philosophical argument. Do you build intelligence from knowledge and rules, or does it just emerge from raw experience?
So on one side, you have the symbolic AI camp. They're like the rationalists. They argue that you have to give an AI a foundation of knowledge and logic to work from. But on the other side, you have the connectionist AI folks, the ones behind neural networks. They argue that you don't program intelligence, you let it learn by finding patterns in absolutely massive piles of data. Right now, the connectionists are definitely winning, but that debate is far from over.
And as AI gets smarter and smarter, these technical debates are crashing right into some really urgent ethical questions. If AI learns from biased human data, it can become biased itself. It can be used to create scarily realistic misinformation. And we're all trying to figure out its impact on jobs, this whole black box problem where we don't know why it makes a certain decision. And of course, the big long-term questions about creating something smarter than us. But, for all the worries, there's also this incredibly optimistic view. I love this quote from Garry Kasparov, the chess grandmaster who famously lost to an AI. He doesn't see it as our replacement. He sees it as a collaborator, a powerful tool that can handle the grunt work and give us back the one thing we can never get more of: time.
And that really brings us to the core challenge, doesn't it? AI is without a doubt one of the most powerful tools humanity has ever created. So the question for all of us now is how we steer it. How do we make sure that we build